In 2004, a US judge had no hesitation in sentencing Michael Flinner to death. He described the murderer as a classic sociopath. Since then, Flinner's had plenty of time to contemplate his execution as he waits on death row deep inside San Quentin prison in California. And after a lifetime of evil, he's decided he wants to do something good. With the help of his son Jonathan, he started a controversial campaign to allow prisoners to donate their organs. He wants to save lives from death row. But who would be prepared to accept the heart of a murderer?
All right, just to see everybody's ID, please.
To enter America's toughest prison, you must wear a stab-proof vest. It's a stark reality check of the danger I'm about to confront.
Hi. Welcome to death row. Can I see your ID? Sure. Thank you.
And this is where that danger lurks. On death row, deep inside California's San Quentin prison, are the worst of the worst. What have you done?
Well, I'm in for a triple murder robbery. It was a drug connection, and things got out of hand in the house and ended up killing the 3 drug dealers that were in the house.
It's here 725 murderers, rapists, pedophiles and armed robbers are caged, their cells stacked 5 stories high. What have you been convicted of?
First degree murder and robbery.
But I'm here to meet one prisoner in particular. 49-year-old Michael Flinner, who says he's trying to right his wrongs. On and off, Michael Flinner has spent more than 20 years behind bars. First for rape and now for murder. He's on death row after organising a hit on his 18-year-old girlfriend, Tamra Keck, so he could collect her life insurance. He had her shot in the back of the head 12 years ago. Today, I find Michael in the death row exercise yard, and he's keen to talk about his long road to redemption.
There's a lot of people that are locked up that understand rehabilitation and, restitution and have certain sentiments and rationale about why you're in prison, and what you need to do when you're here.
From behind these bars, he's launched a campaign to allow prisoners to become living organ donors, to give away one of their kidneys, a section of their liver, or bone marrow, if they so choose. So what you're saying is that there hasn't been much thought about giving life from death row?
There's a lot of evil that lurks beyond prison walls, but I think an even greater evil is standing idly by outside the fishbowl when we have an opportunity to fix something and letting other people die unnecessarily.
Just looking at your photos here of you and your father, I mean, you've known little else really, but
Yeah.
your dad as a prisoner, as a criminal.
Yeah, and it's tough.
On the outside, Michael's devoted son Jonathan. So how old would you be here?
Probably about 2 or 3 years old, so 1992, 1993.
Wants nothing more than his dad to be viewed as a loving father who's made some very bad choices. And you're visiting him in jail there again.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to see that photo.
Which is why he's helping his father promote his controversial organ donation campaign.
It's all about doing something bigger than ourselves, essentially. It's been a hard road. This is something where he really wants to give back to others and be able to help other people than just himself.
With America's prison population around 2 million, Michael and Jonathan believe these criminals could save many of the 130,000 people desperate for organ transplants. But a complex combination of costs, regulations, and a need for specific medical facilities essentially ban Michael and his fellow inmates from handing over their organs. What's stopping it, in your opinion?
There's a lot of apathy and bureaucratic red tape amongst prison administrators. And it's just time to change. I mean, this is 21st century.
When you're on a waiting list, you are forever facing the prospect of death, aren't you? Before you're helped, you could die.
Absolutely.
Every day in America, 22 people die waiting for organ, tissue and bone marrow transplants. Matt Price desperately hopes he won't be one of them.
I try not to think about it because it can be overwhelming. There's always that, if you don't receive a kidney, it's eventually going to lead to your death.
The awarded firefighter and paramedic, is it a good feeling to save people's lives?
It is.
Is now fighting to keep himself alive. His kidneys are working at just 10%, so without this daily home dialysis, he'd be dead within a few months. Right now, he'd accept a kidney from anyone willing to give him theirs.
I'll take that person's kidney if they're willing to give it to me. I don't care what their past is, what they did previously in their life.
So what you're saying is a second chance at life could come from death row?
Certainly.
And you'd welcome it?
I would. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I'm alive. And this murderer or rapist or whoever that person was gave me life. The kidney, the organ, didn't commit the crime. What I do with it is really what matters.
The biggest ethical dilemma in this issue seems to be the question of free will. Can prisoners truly donate their organs without fear or favour? Will they believe either it's a requirement or that by signing up they'll get something in return? If there is no free choice, then prisons like San Quentin potentially become organ banks, just waiting to be harvested. How much of this is employed to look good in the eyes of authorities and society, to get your sentence changed in some way?
I don't want my sentence changed as a result of this. In fact, the way we originally set this up was premised on an inducement-free protocol.
Do you think if you get this through, if you get this done, that you wipe the slate clean?
No. I got a long way to go. I got a lot of growing to do and a lot of healing to do. And this is just part of it.
Is there any part of him that hopes that this might get him off death row?
And that's a good question. This is something that he's doing genuinely. So there's been no talk of, hey, we need to do this for myself.
But you clearly want to see good in your father.
Of course.
Good in a man that society has dubbed evil.
Of course.
He's a convicted murderer and rapist.
Of course.
Could he be hoodwinking you? That he's not as sincere as you believe?
He's a one-of-a-kind man. He really is.
I don't mean to be unkind to you, but the family of his victims would say that you don't see him the way they do.
I'm sure. I'm sure they would.
Inside San Quentin prison, all donation requests by inmates on death row set for execution have so far been denied. But the condemned men I spoke with, including murderer 47-year-old Clifton Perry, say they'd happily donate the day they're killed and any time before. If you were asked to, would you give a kidney or a blood donation or a tissue donation?
I sure would.
And why is that?
I believe that it's an opportunity to help somebody in the community. And you save a life by giving body parts or blood or blood marrow.
Why do you think you're not allowed to?
I believe the Department of Corrections, they have a system set up to where they don't want the inmates to use it as an opportunity to redeem themselves.
Would you expect to get off death row if you gave a kidney to someone?
No, I wouldn't expect that, but it would be nice.
48-year-old Jimmy Kelly's rap sheet includes shooting 3 people and beating a cellmate to death. What do you think of prisoners being able to give their organs if they so chose?
I think it's a good idea.
Why is that?
I think, I'm standing in the cell all day with nothing to do, and so I'm searching for some kind of meaning, some kind of purpose in life, and that would really help, you know what I mean, to give me some sense of meaning, that I could actually do something good and give back after I've done such, you know, some pretty bad things.
So how many years have you been coming here to visit your dad?
A little bit over 8.5 years, something like that.
And do you expect to keep visiting him for the rest of his life?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Harvesting organs from behind bars will always be controversial and complicated. On the outside, the Flinners campaign is starting to gain traction, but it's a tough fight. Jonathan, do you think part of your campaign, your fight, is about wronging the rights of your father? Are you the son paying for the crimes of the father?
No. And that would be a burden for me if I felt that that was what I felt like I needed to do to right his wrongs. Because the things that he's, done and been a part of, that's his past, and those can't be changed at the end of the day.
There's a lot of indignation and a lot of not wanting to humanize the prison population.
And why should someone like yourself be humanised, do you think?
I can't say exactly whether I should or I shouldn't. I just feel like I should have the ability, without any impediments, to save someone that I love.
Yeah, but Michael, do you accept that there are families who have been affected by your actions?
Absolutely.
Who would not care a hoot about whether you can help your family or not? What do you say to those people?
I say that there are many of us who are trying to change our lives, and, for myself, I have no delusions of reprieve. I know why I'm here, and I can't change that. I can't bring my victim back, and we live with that, and we try to grow from it. And I'm very apologetic, and it's a sad situation to live with, but we just need to march along and try to change things as we go. That's all.
Hello, I'm Tara Brown. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. And don't miss out on our extra minute segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes on 9now.com.au and the 9Now app.